Something that is really nice to grow in a forest garden. And this little tiny tree here is going to become a really, I think, quite a big, or at least a dwarf tree. And it's a pine tree. Perhaps you recognize it. And actually, you might not know that the pine, the small seeds in the pine
cones,
they are edible. It's the pinjenötter, what's it called in English.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it's called in English. Anyway.
Pine nuts.
Pine nuts, perhaps. And they're really delicious. But the thing is about these nuts is that they have to be kind of big. The cone has to be kind of big for the nuts to be big. Otherwise they're so small, so there's no real point in harvesting them. Mm-hmm. So this special variety is sort of selected to have extra big cones.
Cool.
And yeah, now this tree is kind of small, but it might grow bigger in time. And then, yeah, hopefully. And all these other plants around it are nitrogen fixing plants, like this one.
Oh really?
Stjärnsund, I don't know what it's called in English. I'm not sure it's edible though, but it's performing a good function because it's fertilizing the soil. Yeah. And this one is caraway, I think, which is you use the seeds, and you can also use the leaves. It's really nice in soups, and the seeds are usually used in baking. And it's a dynamic accumulator like the comfrey, so it has really deep roots and takes up a lot of good nutrition for the rest of the plants. So all of these are basically fertilizing the soil and preparing it, and also the roots, the deep roots, are breaking it up and digging in the soil, so we don't need to
cultivating it.
Yeah, helping the worms to kind of make it loose and nice. Full of good stuff.
Okay, so that's one of the nut trees.
That's one of the nut trees, and here we have an apple tree, which is perhaps one of the most common trees in villa gardens, but you can grow it in a forest garden, and then the difference is that you kind of have it more like an ecosystem. Underneath it you have sort of other perennial plants, maybe that you can eat, or maybe that just helps the apple tree grow as good as possible. So, and here we can also see about the comfrey plant that we were talking about earlier. This plant is not only digging deeply into the soil and having a really big root system that is like preventing weeds from coming in. So it's performing a lot of different functions, because you don't want too much weeds around the fruit trees and the nut trees. So it's that's two functions already, and it's also, you can see it's full of bees, and the bees, we want the bees to pollinate the fruit trees and stuff. So it's performing a lot of different functions in this forest garden ecosystem. So yeah, gotta get a hang of it now, right? The ecosystems and the different niches and the multi-purpose plants. So even though we can't eat this plant specifically, it's really good in the forest garden because it does so many good things for the other plants, basically. And yeah, so this is all for this extra extended forest garden episode, and here we have a guest today, which is called, what's your name?
I'm Rickard.
You're Rickard.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's nice to have you here.
Yeah, and it's a pleasure to be here. This is my first visit in a forest garden.
Wow.
You can really tell that it's a good thing. You can see all the bumblebees having a really nice time here. Yeah, this is a good place.
The best place to live. Actually, I wish I had one of those at home, to be like lying around and working when you have your time off. You can just work in the garden and eat some food.
Or just walk in the garden like this.
Yeah. So thank you. This is all for this week, and see you next week. Bye.
Bye.